even though there have been a lot of technical challenges, this won't be a technical talk, and I think it's important to emphasize that. This is going to be a talk for everyone, told from the product's builder perspective. Obviously, the main character of this story is going to be Curvy, the protocol that we have been building during the last couple of years, actually 2 years now. And in a nutshell, it all started with a simple and what seemed as obvious idea, but as soon as we deep dive into the development, we figure out that what we initially imagined to build isn't that simple. We felt stuck multiple times. However, we didn't stop. We continued, and today we have a production version of the application and real users. But let's start from the beginning, from the idea. It's all started, as I said, around 2.5 years ago, when Vitalik shared his now famous post about stealth addresses. And that's what got us motivated. But before we continue with our story, let's just briefly cover the concept of stealth addresses. It's really simple, and that's why it's also a beautiful concept. So you can imagine that you have a public ID username, or for example, in our case, ENS name. So people that want to send funds to you privately can use that public username, and each time they enter it, they're gonna get the different stealth address. They send funds to you, you receive them, and if you receive funds from 10 people, all those funds, all those transactions will be sent to the different addresses. And at the end of the day, only you are the one who knows that all those funds belongs to you. Someone who is watching from side cannot recognize that all those transactions, all those assets are part of your portfolio. So that's the concept itself. And we, in our company, have an R&D department that's called 3327. And yeah, this is the fun fact. As most of the people from this region of Europe, we were also inspired by the Nikola Tesla. And that's why we named our R&D department like this, because 3327 was the number of room where Nikola Tesla spent his last 10 years of his life in New Yorker Hotel on Manhattan. That's a fun fact. So at that point in time, we already have been researching some cryptography and privacy tooling. And when we saw the concept, that post, we deep dive into the researching the idea, just to understand, what is the current state of the stealth addresses and what are potential boundaries and what we might be able to improve and ideally build a product on top of that. At the end, we didn't stop on one research, on one idea. We built we published a couple of research papers and a couple of prototypes. First one was related to analyzing the current state of these stealth address protocols and trying to figure out how we can improve it, making it more efficient with some faster view scanning, dual key infrastructure, etc. Then we moved to making a post-quantum resistance stealth address protocol, and also we try to play with the multi-sig stealth address protocol. But at the end of the day, we were researching just to understand what are the limitations and where we can find a space for improvement. Once we had all those prototypes, we moved to the product. We launched the protocol to the production. And we wrapped it up in a web application, which is basically a web wallet with a couple of other features. However, that was one of the first time when we realized that what we built isn't sufficient, because at that point we were able to enable users to receive funds privately via stealth addresses. But that's only the half of the problem. The other half is how to manage and send those funds from your stealth addresses to other wallets privately. And the stealth address infrastructure usually breaks privacy when it comes to managing and sending assets. For example, if you don't have a native guess on a stealth address, you need to fund that specific address with a native token. And if you fund multiple stealth addresses from the funding wallet, it's going to break privacy because you're going to link all those wallets with your funding wallet. Also, if you want to send more than what you have on a single stealth address, you have to merge assets from multiple addresses. And again, that breaks privacy. So at that point, we realized that we need something that we called a ZK relayer, something that will help us aggregate transactions from multiple addresses and send them privately, something that will help us to enable private swaps, batching, bridging, and etc. However, this was again a moment when a new set of challenges arose. First of one was ease of use. Since sending transaction via relayer requires a couple of steps to happen under the hood, and you have to abstract all those steps because users don't want to use an application that's going to look like a dev tooling, like a dev tool or some PhD project. So that was one problem. The second one was costs. Our initial estimates said that sending transaction via ZK relayer gonna cost us and actually user 60 times more, and we can agree that users do care about the privacy, but they don't want to wait days or pay hundreds for a transaction to be submitted. And at that point in time, we again felt a bit lost because we were trying to create a more efficient, faster, cheaper stealth address protocol. We were trying to build a messaging layer on top of that, to build a ZK relayer. We were basically trying to solve many different challenges within privacy in the Web3. And it led us to a lot of back and forths within our team. Misalignment. We frequently heard from our CTO and devs that what we imagined to develop isn't possible, at least right now. And we realized that we need to focus. We need to narrow down the challenges that we are trying to solve within the Web3 privacy niche. We sat down and we created something that we called Product Manifesto. And that's something that it's basically a set of values that we choose to follow while building and solving each of the challenge we have in front of ourselves, but it actually wasn't some kind of the buzzword like you would initially thought. It's something that really helped us align internally and helped us prioritize initiative within different part of the team. And what we came up with, we together decided that we want to focus on building a solution for compliant, private, and fast crypto payments. And while doing that, we want to focus on usability, privacy, compliance, openness, security, speed, and cost. And it's a lot to focus on at the same time, but still, solving the privacy problems in Web3 is a complex task. And let's just briefly cover each of these, what this mean in real world situation that we have in a day-to-day job. So when it comes to the usability, we want users to just define the end goal, whether it's to send transaction privately or to receive funds privately. Everything else should be fixed and taken care of by Curvy. So we can say that Curvy is intent-based, user defines end goals, and Curvy do everything else. Privacy, this one is obviously really important. And privacy, it's not binary. It's not 0 or 1. There is multiple grades of privacy in between. With Curvy, privacy is set by default. That means it's not going to go to the 0. But it's up to users to define the optimal level and actually the optimal balance of cost, speed, and privacy. Maybe someone wants to have a faster transaction and with a low level of privacy, or someone else wants to wait longer, but to be sure that the privacy of their transaction and on-chain activity is higher. Compliance. This is also something that was really important from us from day one, because there were a lot of privacy solutions that didn't made it because of the compliance. So we wanted to create a flexible infrastructure that can support use cases for the compliance, and that's why from the day zero we choose to go with this dual key infrastructure, where you have a private and public viewing and spending key, and you can give your viewing key to someone who can have an overview of all the transactions you have, but they don't have a custody of them. Openness, yeah, this one is simple. So even though we launched initially on Ethereum and we are mostly focused on Ethereum, we are open to other ecosystems, and it's reflecting also in our infrastructure. Security, there are no compromises with the security. And in the end, speed and costs. We agreed that users do care about the privacy, but they don't want to pay hundreds in dollars for the transaction, either to wait days. And in a nutshell, Curvy is not a mixer, it's not a privacy pool, it's not just stealth address protocol. Curvy is a modular privacy router built with embedded compliance. And here just a couple of lessons that we covered during today's talk. Something that we figured during the last year and a half, up to 2 years. Yeah, I hope we're gonna see each other next year as well, just to share what we did in the meantime, what went well, and where we failed, and what new lessons we learned. So yeah, I was a bit faster, and I guess, than was supposed, but we can move to the questions at least.
Well, thank you, Miloš, for those real-world experiences at going to privacy. And thank you. Let's give you all a hand for Miloš. You went through the presentation quite fast, so do we have any questions down here from the audience? No. And none up here. So I have one. So I have a lot of issues getting my transactions into privacy. What do I do? Not all my transactions are private, especially on the chain where you see everything, right? How do I keep it more private then?
There is a couple of options. So of course you can use a Curvy as an option, but I wouldn't like to cover that as an option right now. There is a multiple privacy pool solutions right now that exist that you can easily go through and protect your current portfolio with them. So I would say that's the easiest way if you want to use your current portfolio and let's call it protected from on-chain activity in you.
Yeah, because of privacy, I know every time I join a new project, like new wallet just for this project, just to hide everything. And then you do this stupid mistake. Yeah. You transfer into the same address that you put everything on exchange, right? And that wallet is like bubble map, everything is there. So what will Curvy do to when you're ready? I want to know you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a great point. So even though we build a wallet, one more wallet that you might use, we used it as just a use case, to present what can be built with the protocol. Our end goal is to offer other wallet solutions, either DEXs, to use a Curvy as a protocol, to just integrate and try to protect their users' transaction with our SDK and our infrastructure. So yeah, I do agree that we don't need yet another wallet where I'm gonna move all my funds from MetaMask or any other wallet that I'm used to. It's better to have protocols that wallets that already exist can integrate with and protect and shield them. So to answer your question, like soon, you know, our SDK will be ready, so we want to offer it to the other wallets to integrate it and try to protect their users' privacy by using our infrastructure.
Yeah. Well, you always have the seed phrase you can move over without actually clearing the wallet. Would that work still with your protocol?
Yes.
Well, that's wonderful. Just put in my seed phrase and I have all my wallets there. Perfect. So I'm wondering one thing, especially what is coming up in 2027. The European Union is working on a law where all wallets have to be public. You have to actually claim that wallet. How is your protocol going to work with that, especially when you to use your anything in Europe, they want this new law in?
Yeah, again, that's a good question. You came prepared. Actually, we are currently talking with a couple of potential partners that do care about regulation. So they can easily use that private viewing keys and share it with any regulator if they want. So any company that, again, do care about the regulation can utilize the Curvy infrastructure and build a solution that's at the same time private for their users. On the other hand, has an optional transparency and potential option for auditors to review it.
Well, that's very nice. So work it hand in hand by still being private, but still have the option to, hey, okay, here's the data we actually need. So I don't have any more questions. Do we have anyone else ready with a question? Well, Miloš? There we go, thank you.
Hi, Miloš. Do you do KYC by yourself or you integrate other solutions?
We don't do it. We would expect from our partner who wants to, use our protocol to, choose KYC provider they want. For example, in the case for, let's say some exchange want to use us, they want to be regulated, they can use the infrastructure, as I said, use those pending public keys, but they would be the ones who put the KYC provider on the top of our protocol. So it's flexible.